So usually when you think of Vancouver, it's a big population density. People are busy working, a lot of people are busy to go places. It's not necessarily like New York, but it's sort of the same feel and vibe. And when you think of Asian kids, you usually think big Lamborghinis, Ferraris, spoiled Asian kids, why the cost of living is so expensive for an investment. But there's even like YouTube shows about rich Asian girls. Look it up on YouTube. I'm not even joking. But rarely do you ever see, the other side of the story where it's like the struggling family, the poor Asian immigrants trying to make ends meet. And I felt like for me, that's what makes me me in the way that I am, because I had a story that not a lot of people could understand the way that I grew up. Most people's vacations during Christmas and New Year's, family dinners, family parties, family this and that. But for me, it was like, there wasn't really any of that, because like my parents had to work and it was essentially just me in front of a TV. And our vacations were a 5-minute drive down to our family friend's house so I could play their N64, because we couldn't have money to buy a Super Nintendo or N64 back in the day. And I remember being so pumped, and those were my so-called vacations. Even I remember as a kid, my own parents would collect cans. I know there's the stereotype that Asian people collect cans for money, but I remember as a kid collecting cans and going up to the depot and being like, hey, I thought that was a normal thing. And we would go and like sell cans, and there would be a couple bucks for groceries. And I remember doing that as a kid, and I thought that was normal. I remember in elementary school where over the holiday break, people would do this and that, and you would come back and the teacher would be like, okay kids, write about your holiday and winter break. And I remember as a kid, I felt ashamed because I didn't really do much, and I had to like make up stories. I'd be like, yeah, I went to this, I had dinner with this, but the reality is like there was nothing of that. And for the most of that childhood, I get where a lot of people are like, hey, you're complaining, you're dwelling on the past, you need to let it go. But for me, making this video is like therapeutic, because it's not me necessarily creating something, but it's me documenting my life. Like, this is who I am. This is the root of why I am the way that I am. And I'm more than forever grateful. Every Asian kid grows up and wants to take care of their parents, right? But that's especially for me growing up. Things like, I would have, acquaintances over, and they'll be like, oh, your house is so ghetto, this and that. Like, people were like jokingly, but like they didn't understand it from my perspective, because people think I grew up the same as them. But the thing is, you never understand the other side of the coin, and you can't just assume how people live their lives. So the point of this wasn't to make people feel sorry for me, cry for me, feel bad for me, or pity me. Like, I'm never like that. I never had handouts. Like, I always had to work twice as hard so I can get wherever, because I know that's where like my parents' work ethic from. That's where I come from, and I know no one is hungrier than I am. That's the immigrant hustle. That's the immigrant struggle and hustle that no one really talks about, and that's the reason that the way that I am.